I was a fan of the movie, as I'm sure most people, who come see the play, they've seen or at least heard of the movie. And I decided to do it now because I'm graced and honored to know so many talented female or femme-identifying or non-binary actors in the scene. And so I wanted to do a play that would highlight their voices.
Wonderful. Thank you. One of my favorite things about the show that I've seen so far, I'm coming to see it properly next weekend. I'm so excited. But I've been in and out of the rehearsals and helping promote it. So of course, the costumes are one of the most notable things about this production. So Cal, wonderful costumer, can you tell us a little bit? The costumes are stunning, and there are so many of them. Can you tell us a little bit about your process and your thought process that went into the design?
Sure. I mean, so early on, Riley came to me with this idea of Candyland because Salieri talks a lot about eating and thinks a lot about consuming music, the talents of others, right? Things that he can use to further his career. And so it just seemed natural that Candyland, like a place that is literally made of candy, was a really good jumping off place for us. And so, our Katerina is the pinnacle of dessert that he wants to do. So it seemed that, in fact, that was the smartest place to start with, the most decadent place. And so everyone else is sort of little crumbs from that, right? They're little break-offs of smaller desserts, little petit fours. And then we went into, after taking measurements, we went into finding what we could here, recycling and being as sustainable as possible. We borrowed a bunch of gowns and pants and things from OSU Theater when we totally could not have done this without them, and they're fabulous. Huge thank you to them. And then we had several talented people who sew make some other of the costumes. So this fabulous coat and the fabulous red coat that Salieri starts in are completely made from scratch by Meryl Grady. And Sinea's bodice is made by Beth Droge, so members of the community far and wide. And we just kind of went from there and went till we couldn't go anymore. Until it was too decadent.
Does anyone in the audience here have questions for anyone on stage right now? Yes, sorry, your hand first.
So, question about the costuming. A lot of people wore sneakers too, I noticed, and that was just kind of a personal choice, or is that part of the costume idea?
So for Constanza, for Sinea, that's definitely a stylistic choice. I thought of Mozart and Stanzi as our indie sleaze couple, which is a fashion trend from the 2010s. So I really wanted to incorporate some Converse, some sort of those nature of things in there. And then for other folks, it is practicality, it is comfort. We are a community theater, and I don't want anyone breaking the bank buying fresh shoes for this production. And so we make it work and we make it comfortable. As a costumer, personally, my utmost thing is safety. They have to do a lot of work up here, and really emotional and vulnerable work, and they need to do it through their costumes, not in spite of. And so that is my goal.
I saw a hand up here.
I had a question for Riley.
Yeah.
So, what was something that you wanted to bring? This is my first time seeing any of this, and so I was curious. What is something that was different from, say, the movie that you wanted to have in your production versus, what was in the text already?
So the order of operations with the writing of this play is the play was produced 3 separate times. First on the West End, then on Broadway, and then in revisals, and then they made the movie. And Peter Shaffer also did the writing and part of the screenplay for the movie. And then after the So there are some things that existed in like the very original, the first draft, and then there are some moments from the movie that have been added in. And yeah, I'm sorry, I'm a little nervous. I leave the talking to the actors for the most part.
If I may jump in,
Yeah,
we were
please.
talking just the other day that there's this really fun character in the movie. She's this maid that Salieri hires to go and be in Constanza and Mozart's house to get even more tea from them, even more details. And I really wish that could have been
Well,
in the play.
she's
But
the Venticelli.
But yes,
you know?
exactly. The
So
Venticelli
like all
became both of that.
some of these
yeah.
characters that existed in the movie have kind of been divvied up and separated around, and yeah, cool stuff. Yeah, of course.
Yes, in the middle.
Hey,
Yeah.
this is for Mozart. I was just reading your creds out there, and I see that you were Audrey in Little Shop of Horrors.
Yes.
And we did not get to hear your voice this time.
No.
You just built something out.
This is a wild request. I
believe you did sing during the show.
Oh, yeah,
You
it's
see
great.
the girl who does that?
I know, this is the last thing in the world I was expecting
Yeah.
to do. So I don't
I
honestly
can
know.
take you up on it another time.
Another time. I will schedule a private performance just for you.
All right, I thought I saw him right there. Yeah.
The cat scene was like so good. And I heard that that's something y'all brought in
Yes.
it wasn't in the script.
Yeah. I just thought it would be a fun little halftime show, if you will. Well, because the first line of Act 2, Salieri says, "I've been listening to the cats in the courtyard. They're all singing Rossini." Well, that song was written by Rossini. That's an original work of his. And so I thought, why not let them hear what the song was? So
We had such musical talent come to auditions that we just decided, well, we have to make them sing more. So it was really fun.
Yes.
Okay, so I also don't know anything about Amadeus, my first time seeing anything. And I was curious, I don't know a ton about Mozart either. I knew that he was an asshole. I was thinking that all of the kind of fart jokes, dick jokes, stuff like that, is that actually what he said?
Yes.
Or-
Yeah, so Mozart was actually a really filthy individual. He wrote a song called Lick Me and I'm Eich, which means lick me in the ass. No, he totally did it. It was how he was. He was a very immature human being. He was raised as a traveling genius, peddled around from court to court like a little performing monkey. So he didn't really develop a whole lot of emotional skills. And then when you're told that you're a genius all the time, you don't really think that you have a lot to reflect on. You think you're pretty good. He also, this is speculated, but he was rumored to be neurodivergent. He was always moving. He was always kind of expressing with his body and saying the first thing that came to his head. He was very impulsive. So I was trying to, as a neurodivergent person, bring all of that to the forefront and not have to hide it on stage, which is great. So yeah, he is every bit as filthy and disgusting and body smacking and every bit of it, and also every bit of a genius.
Absolutely. There's a story that I'd like to share about Mozart, actually. So Mozart was known to be pretty strange, and one day at a rehearsal for one of his operas, he began to meow and act like a cat, crawling all over his keyboard, going up to the people in the opera and pawing at them, and getting mad at people when they wouldn't treat him like a cat. And he got so angry that he got fed up and he left. He stormed out of that rehearsal
Played the
room.
bee.
Yep, because nobody would play his games. So if that gives you a little insight of who he was as a person.
A pop question for our Salieri. What were you eating during the scenes?
It was not cream cheese mixed with granulated sugar and suffused with rum. It was non-fat, sugar-free yogurt. Almost as good.
Same thing.
Just while you were talking, I've seen you in several things, and you were just top notch, and I cannot believe the language and everything that you put into this show. So,
I would just say there would have been no way humanly possible to memorize all of this if the script was not written so well. It got into the brain so easily because it was so well written and such a story. So thank you, Peter Shaffer, giving a person a chance.
I will say, for the first month of rehearsals, Lori was a featured actor in Shakespeare in Love. And at the same time, so was in 2 shows at once. And typically our rehearsal process is Monday through Friday. And we built in, Monday through Thursday, we built in these Friday rehearsals so she could do Shakespeare in Love Monday through Thursday, and then Friday come and do Amadeus. And she would come to rehearsal and be off book. I mean, would just know her lines. She has put in so many hours and so much time. I could not be more thankful to have Lori.
Without an answer, which is when you're already in a show and there's an opportunity to get into a part like this in an overlapping show because 2 directors are willing to work extra rehearsals to let this happen for you, thanks are not enough. Thank you.
Great, there was another question in the front row.
I'm not sure if this is for the director or the costume designer, but I noticed that your people who followed you around that were like your gossip mongers at the beginning, they were in sweats that said Majestic Theater, and then they were in their peppermint Candyland costumes, and then at the end they were back in their Majestic Theater, and I wanted to ask like the reason behind that or the interpretation.
To me, there's no one more gossipy than a theater person. No one. Absolutely no one. And so I thought, how better to show that these people are the pinnacle of gossip than to make them sort of part of the stage crew. And also to show how Salieri's story, he really has made himself immortal. That people even now are producing this play and talking about the man.
I will add in that we did talk a lot about fourth wall breaks too. There's so many times where Salieri just addresses you, the audience, and so it felt right to sort of start with a clue in and really further this is a portal fantasy, right? Like we are in a portal of Salieri's memory, whether or not that's accurate or skewed, because I mean he imagines people as gigantic cakes, like okay. So I think that was also a way to really start you in slow, and also pull you back out to the real world, and sort of play with what that fourth wall feels like.
How was it incorporating the live musical elements during your rehearsal process?
It was great. That's our music director, Karen McCollum. If you'd like to speak to the process of what it was like with the music with you.
Well, first off, it's been so fun. This is my music directorial debut. I was assistant music director for Little Shop of Horrors with Audrey here, and that was a lot of fun. It was so much fun. But this was different. Music was kind of more my wheelhouse. My background is opera and more classical music, so this was really kind of coming back to the roots with that. But incorporating the live music was really interesting because we had a meeting early on where we talked about what we wanted to have live and what we wanted to have pre-recorded. And actually a lot of it came down to, well, first off, the singers. I think we got very lucky with just the quality of singer that we had for this show. And yes, I didn't want Lily to sing, but they had a different role.
I will another day, I promise.
Yes. But we got so lucky, and so we were like, okay, what can we make live? How can we make this happen? Lacrimosa, just such an amazing piece. But also the Kyrie from the C minor Mass at the end of Act 1. Beverly Park, our vocal director, Riley, and I all worked to kind of put together the best version of that for what would make Salieri just collapse with awe, but also like disgust that Mozart was so talented. And we just had amazing singers to do it. So we put that together. I would just like huge credit to our sound team as well for working on making all these cues work. We had so many, right up there. We had so many conversations about what cues are we looking for, how are we incorporating it in, fade ins, fade outs, and all of that. And it was challenging at moments, but again, it's just the quality of singer we had. We wanted to make that work at all costs, and Riley was all for it.
When you buy the rights to the script, you're not provided with any of the musical selections. It'll say something exceptionally vague, like that jaunting tune from the Magic Flute. And we go, okay, great, let's listen to the entirety of Magic Flute and figure out what they're talking about.
My favorite part was the section of Figaro before the ballet.
Oh, the section of Figaro before the dance.
There are 4 acts to Figaro. It's 4 hours long. So finding those was, I think, a bit of a challenge early on. But once we got there, it ran pretty smoothly. I don't even remember the original question. Oh, what was it like incorporating live pieces? Yeah. It was fun.
There's also really, as like we're telling this story and talking about Mozart, like yes, we've learned that like his like mannerisms like that are like truthful to who Mozart was, but to have that music, having at least some of it like live in the room with us, contributes to that as well. And it's such a privilege to get to sing that music as well as a challenge, and it's also a wonderful piece to be able to add.
And
You do it so
I see your question.
Yeah, Mozart's laugh in the movie was so iconic. I'm wondering, that must have been a little intimidating, and it seemed like you changed it just the right amount so that you made it your own. I'm wondering how difficult that was, or
Well, you can't do Tom Hulse's laugh. It's his, and even he couldn't do it after filming the movie. When he did the reshoots, he had to get drunk in order to find the laugh again and come back. Because it is supposed to be that ingratiated and annoying. To be quite honest, I laughed how I laugh, which is annoying, and so it worked really well. I mean, it's just maybe punching a little bit from what's already there, but yeah, my favorite is when you imitate the laugh. That is truly, that's what we're
Still working on it.
But I mean, who can forget, the closing scene in the movie when Salieri is being wheeled through the sanatorium, and the laugh just kind of echoes, and he's rhapsodying in his own head and his memories, and yeah, it's a lot to live up to, so I didn't try.
I think you did a very good
Thank
job.
you.
Yes.
All right, I think we have time for one more question. Yes.
I have a question about the lights. So I saw in the beginning that there was a lot of like kind of the waviness of things and the colors of them, and that they are pastel-y and blues and pinks and like kind of go along with the dessert theme of things. But how did you guys kind of set up the light design and pick all of that?
Our lighting designer is Dan Butler. Is he here
No.
too? No, not
Okay.
But he is
Like
just
genius.
absolutely fantastic. I mean, so much of this was his just original ideas with my guidance on color and tone and where to really put things. really, really amazing work that he did.
I
Yeah,
think
it was beautiful.
I think we did a lot of like color pulls. You know what I mean? So Katerina, every time she comes on, it's pink because she's pink, and you know, and so we tried to make it. We tried to tell a color story with all of the costumes and the lighting and the props, because sometimes when colors clash, it's apparent that, you know, you didn't tie everything together. It
It's
doesn't live in the
distracting,
same
yeah.
world. And so we wanted everything to be all in that same color palette and have Salieri be so much darker than everyone else, you know, with his, he's the only character that wears black. And in really any sense other than on the leopard print, but the colors of the lights really made those colors on the costumes pop. So we wanted to make sure it was vibrant, because the world